Support the channel by subscribing. It helps us create new stories about the real America for you.
Winter rains transform the Tennessee River into a swollen monster. Confederate Fort Henry drowns beneath 2 feet of rising water. Inside the parade ground, soldiers stand ankle-deep in mud. Outside, 7 gunboats approach. History arrives wearing iron armor today. Stand on Cincinnati's deck this morning. Smoke columns stretch across gray horizon. 4 ironclad monsters lead the flotilla forward. Behind them, 3 wooden timberclads follow. Flag Officer Andrew Foote grips the rail, knuckles whitening. The river carries death southward. Brigadier General Lloyd Tilghman watches through his telescope. He counts approaching vessels. 7 against 17 cannon seems manageable. Then he notices the water level. Powder magazines flood. Half his guns sit submerged. Hope dies silently underwater this morning. Western rivers hold keys to splitting the Confederacy. Control Tennessee and Cumberland. Control supply lines feeding Confederate armies. Albert Sidney Johnston knows this. Ulysses Grant knows this. Fort Henry stands between 2 futures, 1 nation or 2. Tilghman faces impossible mathematics. 3,000 men defend this position with weapons from 1812, flintlock rifles against ironclad gunboats. Defeat becomes undeniable. He orders evacuation. Most soldiers march toward Fort Donelson, 12 miles eastward. Safety beckons. Perhaps. I am an artillery captain staying behind. Tilghman needs volunteers to buy time. 17 of us remain at the cannons. We understand the assignment. Hold gunboats for 1 hour. Let comrades escape. Our families receive letters explaining heroism. February 6th, 1862. Morning begins with deceptive calm. At noon, Foote positions ironclads 1,700 yards distant. River churns beneath engines. Inside Fort Henry, artillery captains check powder charges. Minutes remain. Storm approaches wearing metal skin. The first Confederate cannon roars. White smoke explodes across ramparts. Shot arcs high, splashes short. Foote watches calmly. Ironclads advance. 1,600 yards. 1,500. Range closes like tightening noose. Confederate gunners reload frantically, hands trembling. Hear the order aboard Cincinnati. Fire! 4 ironclads unleash simultaneous thunder. Sound deafens. Cannonballs scream toward Fort Henry's earthen walls. Some strike home. Others splash uselessly. The dance begins. For 75 minutes, iron tests stone. History holds breath. Water sloshes across parade ground with each cannon recoil. Flooding worsens. A gun captain notices powder magazine door leaking. Brown River water seeps inside. Ammunition becomes worthless sludge. He reports to Tilghman. The general's face betrays nothing. Inside, despair blooms. Foote commands from Cincinnati's deck. Shells explode around him. He never flinches. Naval career taught discipline. Methodist faith taught purpose. Abolitionist convictions taught moral clarity. Today, all converge. He closes the distance methodically. 1,400 yards. 1,300. Death approaches. I reload my cannon. Barrel burns hot enough to sear flesh. My crew works mechanically. We fired 17 shots. How many hit? Impossible knowing through smoke. An ironclad looms closer, armor deflecting shells like rain. My gunner whispers prayers. Essex steams forward confidently. Commander William Porter stands near boilers. A Confederate 32-pound shot arcs perfectly. Penetrates the casemate. Strikes middle boiler directly. Superheated steam erupts through the gunboat. Screams pierce battle noise. 32 men fall instantly. Scalding steam peels skin from bone. Porter collapses, blinded and burned. Sailors stumble toward hatches, flesh hanging. Some jump into freezing river. Cold water offers mercy or death. Essex drifts from formation. Inside, wounded sob. Outside, battle continues indifferently. Watch Essex fall behind, trailing steam. 3 ironclads remain. Carondelet, Cincinnati, St. Louis. They tighten formation. Foote maintains pressure despite losing 1/4 heavy guns. Mission supersedes casualties. Tennessee River must open. Confederacy must break. Personal cost becomes irrelevant. Tilghman counts remaining operational cannons. 4 heavy guns still function. 13 lie silenced by direct hits or flooding. Ammunition dwindles toward nothing. Gunboats close to 600 yards point-blank range. His artillerists die. Mathematics become inescapable. Surrender or annihilation. Shell explodes beside my cannon. Shrapnel kills my loader instantly. Blood sprays across my face. I taste copper and smoke.
If you're interested in the true history of America, subscribe, and let's figure it out together.
Another crewman clutches his stomach, intestines visible. He begs for mother. I offer no comfort, just orders. Reload, fire. Foote orders, final advance. 400 yards from fort. Ironclad's guns fire continuously. Each broadside shakes the river. Fort Henry's walls crumble under onslaught. Confederate return fire weakens. Foote sees victory approaching. He calculates the moment. Press forward. Break them today. Tilghman makes his decision. Only one cannon remains operational. Powder supplies reach final reserves. 21 casualties sprawl across flooded parade ground. He orders Confederate flag lowered. White sheet rises on flagpole. Ironclads cease fire immediately. Silence feels deafening after thunder. I watch our flag descending. Pride and relief war inside my chest. We held 75 minutes. Comrades escaped toward Donelson. Mission fulfilled. Survived. Maybe. White sheet climbs upward. My hands stop shaking. Cannons cool. War pauses. Momentarily satisfied with blood. Fort Henry Sallyport opens. Small launch rows across flooded ground. Tilghman sits upright, maintaining dignity despite defeat. He approaches Cincinnati. Foote waits aboard. 2 officers regard each other. Professional respect transcends uniforms. War creates strange courtesies. Enemies meet. Terms discussed. What terms do you offer? Tilghman asks formally. Foote responds without hesitation. Your surrender will be unconditional. The words echo cold. No negotiation, no bargaining. Complete capitulation. Tilghman expected nothing different. He surrenders 12 officers, 82 men. Fort Henry becomes Union property. Stand among the surrendered. Federal sailors accept weapons. No one speaks. What words fit this moment? Fought bravely. Lost inevitably. Flooding doomed this position before shots fired. The fort's location proved wretched. Military engineering records no parallel disaster. Tilghman will write that. Grant's infantry arrives 3 hours late. Muddy roads delayed their march. They find Fort Henry already surrendered. Soldiers stand confused. Naval forces won without them. Grant surveys captured artillery mired deep in mud. Provisions abandoned everywhere. Evidence of panicked Confederate evacuation. Fort Henry is ours, Grant writes. I shall take and destroy Fort Donelson on the 8th. Confidence seems premature. But Grant sees strategic picture clearly. Tennessee River lies open. Confederate defensive line cracks. Fort Donelson must fall next. Momentum matters. Politicians celebrate. Newspapers proclaim great victory. But casualties tell different story. 42 Federal losses, 21 Confederate. Small battle, enormous consequences. Halleck promises the flag will never be removed from Tennessee. Time will test that claim. I am imprisoned aboard Cincinnati tonight. Deck rocks gently beneath me. My wounds receive treatment. Federal surgeons work efficiently, saving friend and foe equally. Strange mercy. Outside, Tennessee River flows southward. Tomorrow, Foote sends gunboats upriver. Nothing stops Union penetration. Foote selects Lieutenant Seth Ledyard Phelps for special mission. Take 3 timberclads upriver: Tyler, Conestoga, Lexington. Destroy everything militarily valuable. Pursue Confederate vessels. Raid supplies. Burn bridges. Test how deep Union gunboats penetrate Confederate territory. Phelps salutes. Raid begins at dawn. Watch from Tyler's bow. Tennessee River stretches ahead endlessly. Shoreline villages appear, vanish. Citizens watch helplessly as Union gunboats pass. Some wave white flags, others hide. Federal power projects deep into Confederate heartland. No resistance materializes. Southern weakness becomes visible. Phelps raids for 6 days. Timberclads destroy Confederate supplies stockpiled along river. Important railroad bridges burn. Memphis and Ohio Railroad suffers crippling damage. Union sailors capture fleeing Confederate vessels. Sally Wood, Muscle, uncompleted ironclad Eastport. Southern shipping disappears from Tennessee. At Florence, Alabama, citizens beg Phelps for mercy. "Spare our town, spare railroad bridge, we mean no harm." Phelps agrees, sees no military importance. His decision proves costly. 2 months later, Confederate reinforcements use that bridge traveling to Shiloh. Mercy creates consequences. Raid reaches Muscle Shoals, Alabama River's navigable limit. Phelps turns back. Timberclads return safely to Fort Henry on February 12th. Mission accomplished. A 19th century source describes perfect success. Union forces discovered Confederacy's real weakness. Rivers become highways. Invasion becomes inevitable. Inside Fort Henry, water continues rising. By February 8th, entire fort sits underwater. Grant evacuates to higher ground. Position becomes completely useless. Nature finishes what gunboats started. Had Grant delayed 2 days, no battle occurs. Timing and fortune intersect. Tilghman sits imprisoned at Fort Warren in Boston. He writes bitter reports. Fort Henry was in wretched military position. History of military engineering records no parallel to this case. Superiors ignored warnings, placed soldiers indefensibly, demanded impossible victories. Professional soldiers pay for political failures. I watch through prison walls as winter becomes spring. My wounds heal slowly. Body mends. Spirit remains broken, not from battle's brutality, but leadership's incompetence. We were sacrificed to bad geography, worse planning. 1862 will be remembered. Fort Henry studied. Cautionary tales written. Ask what Fort Henry's fall means strategically. Answer transforms war's trajectory. Tennessee River opens completely. Union gunboats and supply ships travel unimpeded southward. Grant gains vital supply line. Confederate forces abandon Kentucky entirely. Johnston's defensive line collapses. Western theater shifts dramatically. Albert Sidney Johnston receives news at Nashville. Fort Henry lost in 75 minutes. His carefully constructed defensive position shattered. Tennessee and Cumberland rivers now serve Union logistics. 71,000 soldiers cannot hold the line. Retreat becomes necessary. Confederate Tennessee faces occupation. Davis reads reports in Richmond. Another defeat. Another river lost. Western theater deteriorates rapidly. Critics demand Johnston's removal. Davis resists, trusting Johnston. But trust cannot reverse military reality. Confederacy's western defenses crumble. Union forces penetrate deeper. Mississippi River looms next. Vicksburg waits. Aboard Cincinnati, sailors celebrate their victory. Liquor flows despite regulations. Songs echo across water. They earned this moment. First major naval victory. First successful ironclad engagement. Proof river warfare works. Proof combined Army-Navy operations succeed. Proof Confederacy can be broken. Foote, writes official report, praises crews, acknowledges Essex's terrible casualties, emphasizes unconditional surrender terms. Methodist sensibilities forbid boasting, but satisfaction shows through professional language. Mission succeeded. Tennessee opened. Strategy worked. His gunboats proved their worth. History will remember favorably. Porter lies in hospital ship. Burns cover half his body. Blindness may be permanent. Doctors offer morphine. He refuses, wanting his mind clear. He remembers the moment. Shell penetrating, boiler exploding, steam filling casemate, screams, darkness. Now pain becomes constant companion. Visit wounded sailors below decks. Injury shock, burns, shrapnel wounds, missing limbs. They joke despite agony. Sailor humor masks trauma. They call themselves Foote's Ironclad Boys. Laugh about dodging Confederate shells. But nighttime brings different sounds. Sobbing, screaming, prayers. Pain speaks honestly. In Tennessee, Confederate soldiers retreat toward Nashville. They march exhausted, defeated without fighting. Fort Henry fell before infantry engaged. Morale collapses. Soldiers desert nightly. Why fight for generals choosing indefensible positions? Why die for incompetence? Questions spread through ranks. Confederate cohesion weakens. Grant plans his next move. Fort Donelson lies 12 miles east. Stronger position, better defended, more soldiers. But momentum favors audacity. He requests permission to attack. Halleck hesitates. Washington debates. Grant ignores bureaucracy. marches 15,000 troops toward Donelson. Action creates destiny. I hear rumors aboard prison ship. Grant moves against Fort Donelson. My former comrades face another battle. Will they hold? Can they hold? Donelson sits higher, better fortified. But Union forces possess confidence now. Victory breeds more victory. Momentum becomes irresistible. February 6th becomes legend quickly. Northern newspapers proclaim it one of the most complete and signal victories in the annals of the world's warfare. Chicago Tribune exaggerates enthusiastically. Hyperbole serves morale. After Bull Run's disaster, Wilson's Creek's defeat, victory tastes sweet. Wonder about Confederate soldiers who escaped. 2,000 fled toward Fort Donelson before battle commenced. They carry trauma without fighting. Watched comrades stay behind. Knew those men died buying time. Survivors' guilt weighs heavier than equipment. They reach Donelson exhausted, demoralized, guilt-ridden. Tilghman eventually exchanges for Union General John Reynolds in August. Returns to Confederate service. Commands brigades. Fights at Champion Hill during Vicksburg campaign. Shell strikes his chest, instant death. May 1863. He escapes Fort Henry's surrender only to die later. War consumes everyone. Fort Henry disappears beneath Tennessee river waters. By war's end, nothing remains visible. Nature reclaims battlefield. Earthworks dissolve. Cannons rust underwater. Fort becomes memory, legend, footnote, but strategic impact persists. Rivers opened. Confederacy split. Grant ascended. Western theater transformed completely. Geography shapes destiny. Foote's ironclads prove their concept. Naval engineers study engagement carefully. Armor thickness, gun placement, engine power, each detail analyzed. Future ironclads incorporate lessons learned. Monitor and Virginia duel comes later, but Fort Henry demonstrated ironclad viability first. Wooden ships become obsolete overnight. I will be exchanged eventually. Return home. My war ends luckier than most. But Fort Henry haunts me. The flooding, impossible situation, friends who died beside me. Their faces visit my sleep. War creates wounds invisible to surgeons. Some injuries never heal. Stand at Fort Henry's site today. Water covers everything. No monuments, no markers. Just river flowing endlessly southward. History happened here. Men died. Nations struggled. Future was decided, but nature keeps no records. Water remembers nothing. Only humans carry memory forward. Strategic cascade from Fort Henry proves unstoppable. Fort Donelson falls February 16th. Nashville evacuates. Kentucky returns entirely to Union control. Cumberland and Tennessee rivers become federal highways. Johnston retreats toward Corinth. Western Confederacy fragments. All from 75 minutes of naval bombardment. Grant emerges from obscurity. Before Fort Henry, he was failed businessman, disgraced officer, struggling general. After Fort Henry, newspapers print his name. Politicians notice. Lincoln remembers. Unconditional surrender. Grant becomes his nickname. One battle transforms reputation. Vicksburg makes him legendary. Consider the what-ifs. What if Grant delayed 2 days? Fort Henry sits completely underwater. No battle occurs. What if Tilghman had better weapons, higher ground, competent engineers? Confederate defensive line holds. History turns on tiny variables. Chance and choice intertwine inseparably. Foote receives promotion to Rear Admiral, but health deteriorates from battle strain. Never fully recovers. Dies June 1863, younger than Tilghman when killed. War consumes officers regardless of uniform color. Victory and defeat both cost lives. Glory kills as efficiently. Tennessee River still flows today. Dams regulate water levels. Barges carry commerce peacefully. No gunboats, no cannon fire, no soldiers dying in flooded forts. But February 6, 1862, remains embedded in geography. The river remembers. Current carries history downstream. Past flows into present. I think about white flag rising. That moment of transition. War pausing. Violence ceasing. Strange silence after constant thunder. How quickly enemies become prisoners. How fast killing transforms into mercy. Boundary between life and death proves remarkably thin. A flag's color determines everything. Fort Henry teaches lessons beyond tactics. Geography matters. Engineering matters, logistics matter, morale matters. But most importantly, timing matters. Right moment, right place, right decision. Grant understood timing. Tilghman received impossible timing. Foote created perfect timing. History belongs to those who master when. 75 minutes of battle seem brief compared to Gettysburg's 3 days. Wilderness's carnage, Petersburg's 10-month siege. Fort Henry barely registers in casualty statistics. Yet, it opened the path, made Shiloh possible, made Vicksburg achievable, made Appomattox inevitable. Small battles unlocking large campaigns. Ask what Fort Henry ultimately means. Perhaps this: inevitability arrives slowly, then suddenly. Confederate defeat was never guaranteed, but Fort Henry made it more probable. Each Union victory increased likelihood. Each Confederate loss decreased hope. Probability accumulated. Momentum compounded. Nothing was certain. Tilghman wrote that military engineering records no parallel to Fort Henry's wretched position. He was wrong. History provides countless examples. Leaders placing soldiers in impossible situations, demanding miracles, expecting victory from defeat's ingredients. Fort Henry merely added another entry. Incompetence repeats. Soldiers pay. Ironclads return to Cairo triumphant, whistles blowing, Confederate flags flying upside down. Citizens line riverbanks cheering. Federal victory tastes sweet after months of bitter defeat. Songs celebrate Foote's bravery. Poets compose verses. Artists sketch battle scenes. Union needs heroes. Fort Henry provides them. February 6, 1862 becomes the day Western war changed direction. Not immediately obvious, not dramatically decisive, but quietly significant. Rivers opened, territory shifted, momentum transferred. Confederacy's western defenses began slow collapse. Fort Henry started the cascade, small stone displacing larger stones. I watch Tennessee River from my prison ship. Tomorrow, exchange negotiations continue. Eventually, I return home. War continues. More battles, more casualties, more victories and defeats. But Fort Henry remains frozen in memory. The rising water, incoming ironclads, white flag ascending. That moment when everything changed.
If you're curious to find out what happened next, subscribe. The sequel is coming soon.